We were promised flying cars. Instead, my car's check engine light has been on since 2011, and my GPS still thinks my driveway is a lake. The past wrote us a lot of checks that bounced, promising a glorious, automated utopia. Well, today we're looking at the itemized receipt for a future that was never delivered. Here are 49 of the most spectacularly wrong predictions ever made by people who were, apparently, paid to think. 1. The 1970s. An era of bold fashion and even bolder predictions. Life coaches and futurists, high on optimism and probably something else, assured us that by the 21st century, the 3-day work week would be standard. We'd all be writing poetry and learning macrame. Instead, I'm mainlining caffeine to manage a full-time job and we'd all be writing poetry and learning macrame. It's online. My leisure time is spent doom scrolling at 2 a.m., while a motivational app sends me push notifications about mindfulness. The only 3-day cycle in my life involves me discovering the laundry I put in the washer 3 days ago. That wasn't the future we were promised. 2. A particularly charming prediction was that a benevolent AI dictator would eventually govern the planet, optimizing everything with cold, flawless logic. An adorable fantasy, right up until you realize the most advanced AI in your house can't distinguish between your request to play Frank Sinatra and an order for 45 pounds of industrial-grade sandpaper. One tiny bug in the code, and this global overlord could misinterpret a UN resolution and solve geopolitical tensions by making it mandatory for world leaders to communicate only through interpretive dance. I'll take the beautiful chaos of flawed human politicians over a logical tyrant that thinks Nickelback is the key to world peace. 3. Scientists and visionaries once painted a picture of a future filled with colossal, self-sustaining floating islands. Entire cities drifting majestically across the oceans, a testament to human ingenuity. It's a spectacular image. Meanwhile, my city council just held 6 months of emergency meetings to debate the strategic placement of a new trash can. If we can't even manage basic urban planning on solid ground without it turning into a bureaucratic nightmare, what chance do we have with a city that could literally float away during a hurricane? The HOA fees alone would be enough to make you want to swim back to shore. 4. Prepare yourself for this one. Some theorists genuinely propose that by 2025, we'd abandon clumsy words and communicate purely through music. Imagine trying to file your taxes using only the melancholic tones of a cello. Or picture a courtroom where the verdict is delivered via a blistering heavy metal guitar solo. Breaking up with someone wouldn't be a conversation. It would be you standing there awkwardly while they play a sad extended saxophone melody at you. I would gladly suffer through a lifetime of awkward small talk about the weather to avoid having a heated argument with my neighbor that escalates into a full-blown polka battle. 5. Back in the swinging 60s, the dream was to harness energy from our own bodies. Every step you took would charge your phone. A morning jog could power your entire house. A truly brilliant concept. In reality, my multi-$100 smartwatch throws a fit and dies if I get too many emails, and I get winded walking from the couch to the refrigerator. If my daily physical exertion was converted into electricity, it might generate enough power to mildly inconvenience an ant. The only thing my movement is successfully generating is a series of alarming clicks from my right knee. 6. Cold War-era thinkers, likely in a secret bunker somewhere, predicted we'd soon ditch telephones for telepathy. We'd simply beam our thoughts across the ether. This isn't a utopia. It's a privacy nightmare from hell. Do you really want your boss to know you're internally screaming every time they say synergy? Or that your brain is just a chaotic blender of grocery lists, that one embarrassing thing you did in 2004, and the theme song to a cartoon you haven't seen in 30 years? You think targeted ads are bad now? Just wait until corporations can beam a Pepsi commercial directly into your dreams. I'll take the awkward group chat, thanks. 7. Oh, the hoverboard. The ultimate symbol of the future we were promised and the cheap, flammable reality we got. Thanks to movies, we all expected to be floating effortlessly above the pavement. What we got was a two-wheeled Segway knockoff that couldn't handle a single sidewalk crack without launching its rider into the nearest hedge. Their most notable feature wasn't hovering. It was their tendency to spontaneously combust. The only thing they made obsolete was your sense of balance and the skin on your elbows. The future wasn't just disappointing, it was a genuine fire hazard. 8. Remember the deafening hype about the imminent cashless society? Around 2010, we were told cash would be a museum artifact. We'd pay for everything with a wrist implant or a blink of an eye. So why am I, in the supposed future, on my hands and knees, digging through my car's disgusting center console for 2 sticky quarters because the laundromat machine only accepts exact change and prayer? The most advanced transaction I can make is tapping my phone to pay for coffee, and even that fails half the time. The future is here, all right? It's just that it only works for buying digital power-ups in a game, while the real world still runs on crumpled dollar bills. 9. The future promised us effortless fitness through AI-powered exoskeletons that would sculpt us into Olympians while we slept. The reality? I just made a noise that sounded like a deflating balloon, simply by bending over to tie my shoes. My body's check engine light has been on since about 2008, and the only six-pack I have is a dusty pack of beer in the back of the fridge. We weren't just promised automated fitness, we were promised dignity. Instead, I have knees that make a crunching sound loud enough to be mistaken for someone eating potato chips. The only automation I want now is one that mutes that sound. 10. Everyone remembers the promise of flying cars, a staple of every futuristic vision since the 1950s. We were supposed to be soaring over traffic jams by now. But let's be honest, given how people drive in 2 dimensions, do we really want to add a third? The actual future isn't flying cars. It's arguing with a smart refrigerator that keeps adding kale to the shopping list, despite my silent screaming protests. It's watching an Uber Eats driver mistake your front porch for a nearby hedge. We were promised slick aerial commutes. We got a toilet that can analyze my health but can't flush properly if the Wi-Fi goes out. I'd trade all this so-called smart tech for a simple, reliable pizza drone. 11. Certain health gurus and futurists insisted that by now, we'd have instant healing chambers. Get a nasty paper cut or a compound fracture? Just pop into the chamber for a few minutes, listen to some soothing music, and emerge good as new. The reality of modern medicine is me standing in the pharmacy aisle, wondering if the store brand bandage is as good as the name brand one. My doctor's most advanced solution for literally any ailment, from a migraine to a crippling sense of existential dread, is to drink more water and get some rest. If these miracle healing pods do exist somewhere, I guarantee my health insurance would classify them as an elective cosmetic procedure and refuse to cover it. 12. Post-war advertisements from the 1950s showcased a sparkling automated future where robotic maids would handle all our domestic chores with cheerful efficiency. Rosie the robot would be scrubbing our floors while we put our feet up. Fast forward to today. My primary robot, a circular vacuum, just spent an hour systematically smearing a piece of lint across the entire living room floor. My smart oven just incinerated a frozen pizza and then had the audacity to send a notification to my phone about it. I'm still here, washing dishes by hand like some sort of 18th century peasant. The only thing my smart home does is judge my life choices and run up my electricity bill. 13. According to advertisements and wild-eyed speculators from the 1920s, by this point in history, we'd be taking casual weekend trips to Jupiter. We'd be sipping atomic cocktails in a lounge on one of its moons, complaining about the high price of asteroid parking. The reality check? I'm currently sipping burnt instant coffee while watching my bank account achieve a state of quantum negativity. My biggest planned trip is to the grocery store, and even that feels financially irresponsible right now. While NASA is landing rovers on other planets, I'm dealing with my dog, also named Rover, who is currently trying to eat my socks. An interplanetary getaway seems a bit ambitious when my phone battery can't even make it through a whole day. 14. Lab-grown meat was hailed as the future of food. It was supposed to be cheap, ethical, and available in every supermarket, ending world hunger and saving the planet. We'd be grilling up guilt-free steaks grown in a sterile lab. Instead, I'm standing in the grocery store, staring at a $12 block of plant-based protein that has the texture of a pencil eraser and tastes vaguely of disappointment. My food budget has me seriously contemplating whether protein is a vital nutrient or just a fancy suggestion. The future of food isn't here yet. Wake me up when a lab-grown ribeye costs less than my monthly internet bill. 15. Perhaps the most wildly optimistic prediction was that we would unlock the full potential of the human brain. We would all become super geniuses, capable of understanding quantum mechanics, composing symphonies, and finally figuring out what women want. Every human, a modern-day Einstein. Meanwhile, I just spent 10 minutes searching for my glasses, which were on top of my head the entire time. I walked into the kitchen with purpose, only to stand there in utter confusion, with no idea why I came in. If this is my brain operating at full capacity, I am genuinely terrified to see what low power mode looks like. We haven't unlocked our potential. We've just found more advanced ways to be idiots. 16. In a fit of global optimism, some experts swore that by the year 2020, the entire world would operate on a single universal currency. This unitas, or Globex, would simplify trade, end currency manipulation, and make travel a breeze. What did we get instead? I now have 7 different payment apps on my phone just to pay for parking, split a dinner bill with friends, or buy something from a craft fair. We have credit cards, debit cards, contactless payments, cryptocurrency, and cashiers who look at you like you've handed them a live grenade if you try to pay with a $50 bill. We can't even get a global consensus on whether the toilet paper roll goes over or under. A single world currency was never going to happen. 17. In the 1950s, the future wasn't just bright, it was radioactive. The atomic age promised that literally everything would be nuclear-powered. Your car, your toaster, your electric razor, all running on a friendly little atom in the backyard. We were supposed to have limitless, clean energy for a utopian society. Instead, the most significant power upgrade I've made in the last decade was switching from disposable AA batteries to rechargeable ones, and I still feel like a technological pioneer. The only thing glowing in my kitchen is a 3-week-old container of leftovers that I'm too scared to open. The future wasn't just a letdown, it's a potential biohazard. 18. Faced with the prospect of an ever-warming planet, some magnificently ambitious thinkers predicted we'd simply build a planet-wide cooling system, like a giant air conditioner for Earth, with a thermostat located somewhere in Switzerland, probably. We'd just dial down the global temperature whenever it got a little stuffy. Meanwhile, back in the real world, I start sweating profusely just thinking about walking to my mailbox in July, and my car's AC has the functional reliability of a chocolate teapot. Before we attempt to air condition the entire planet, can we first focus on creating a simple desk fan that doesn't sound like it's trying to achieve liftoff and open a wormhole in my office? 19. They swore to us that by now the traditional office job would be a relic of the past. It would be fully automated, with efficient AI handling all the boring, repetitive tasks, while we, the liberated humans, pursued our passions from a hammock on a beach. The reality? I'm now answering emails at 11 p.m. on a Sunday, and my most frequent interaction with AI is trying to convince a customer service chatbot that my problem is too complex for its limited script, and to please, for the love of God, let me speak to a human. The only thing that has been successfully automated is the process of my soul slowly leaving my body during a pointless Zoom call. 20. A one-world government. A beautiful, utopian idea where all of humanity puts aside its differences to work together in global harmony. It's a noble thought. But let's be brutally honest for a second. We are a species that cannot even agree on a single, universal charging port for our phones. We live in a world of lightning cables, USB-C, and that one weird proprietary plug for your ancient Kindle. If we need international treaties just to standardize how we charge our devices, the prospect of a unified global government seems slightly out of reach. Let's start with baby steps: humanity. A universal charger first, then world peace. 21. Mind uploading was the ultimate sci-fi promise: digital immortality. Why bother with a frail, decaying human body when your entire consciousness could be uploaded to a flawless digital realm to live forever in the cloud? It sounds fantastic until you consider the current state of our technology. My laptop, a supposedly powerful machine, audibly groans and threatens to crash if I have more than 4 browser tabs open. Imagine your eternal soul, your very essence, being stuck on a permanent loading screen with a spinning wheel of death because the server it's hosted on is having a bad day. I think I'll take my chances with this fragile body. Thanks. 22. In the 1960s, some futurists were convinced we were on the verge of developing thought photography, a camera that could capture an image directly from your brain. Thank goodness this never happened. My mind is not a curated gallery of beautiful landscapes and fond memories. It's a chaotic dumpster fire of intrusive thoughts, snippets of commercial jingles from 1998, and imaginary arguments I won in the shower this morning. If this technology existed, it would be the ultimate blackmail tool. No one needs photographic evidence of the time my brain decided to spend an entire afternoon thinking about the plot holes in the movie Space Jam. 23. Back in the 1980s, with all the confidence of a teenager who just discovered hair gel, experts swore that practical time travel was just around the corner. We'd be correcting past mistakes and taking tourist trips to the Cretaceous period. Fast forward to today, where my brand new $1,000 smartwatch can't even figure out what time it is for 2 weeks after daylight savings. My car's GPS, which communicates with satellites in space, still confidently tries to make me turn into a lake. If our best tech can't even master the present, I'm not holding my breath for a machine that can navigate the fourth dimension. 24. Visionaries in the 1950s imagined we'd have emotion-sensing televisions. These empathetic devices would analyze our mood and automatically change the channel to something that suited how we felt. Sad? Here's a comedy special. Stressed? Enjoy this calming nature documentary. Instead, we got the exact opposite. My television seems to have a sadistic ability to sense the precise moment I am most emotionally invested in a show, and then immediately cut to a 5-minute block of jarringly loud commercials for products I will never need. It's not mood-based programming, it's mood-ruining programming, and it has been perfected. 25. Scientists and tech evangelists once claimed that by 2020, we'd all be sporting contact lenses with built-in heads-up displays. We'd have maps, messages, and social media feeds projected directly onto our eyeballs. The reality? I spend the first 10 minutes of every morning blindly patting down my nightstand, desperately fumbling for my actual glasses like a character in a Victorian novel who has lost their spectacles. The only augmented reality I'm experiencing is when I squint at my bank statement just right, and for a fleeting moment, the numbers almost look positive. That's about as futuristic as my vision gets. 26. The 1980s promised a future where loyal robotic pets would handle our menial tasks. They'd walk the dog, do your dishes, and maybe even file your taxes with cheerful beeping efficiency. My current robot army consists of a Roomba that has gotten itself hopelessly wedged under the sofa and is now emitting a series of pathetic beeps that sound suspiciously like a cry for help. The other one, Siri, just overheard me muttering to myself and asked, "Sorry, I didn't get that." We were promised tireless companions. We got appliances that need therapy, and a digital assistant that's just as confused as we are. 27. Here's a truly wild one. Some futurists believed we would eventually evolve beyond food entirely, subsisting on light and air like a well-tended houseplant. You'd just stand in a sunny spot for a few minutes and absorb all the nutrients you need for the day. Meanwhile, if I skip a single meal, my personality degrades from a semi-functional human being into a snarling gremlin who considers anyone making cheerful small talk a mortal enemy. If humans were meant to be powered by photosynthesis, someone forgot to send the memo to my stomach, which is currently staging a violent protest and demanding French fries. 28. Imagine getting ghosted by an actual ghost. In the early 1900s, visionaries predicted spirit telephones to chat with the deceased. But think of the logistics. Would there be celestial roaming charges? What would the small talk even be? "Hi, Great Aunt Mildred. How's the great beyond?" "Oh, it's fine, dear. A bit cloudy. By the way, did you ever pay back that $20 you borrowed from me in 1978? I have enough trouble avoiding calls from my living relatives, thank you very much. The last thing I need is my long-dead grandpa calling me to complain about the music I listen to." 29. Personalized weather control was supposed to be the ultimate luxury. Don't like the forecast? Just open an app and turn off the rain, or schedule a pleasant cooling breeze for your afternoon barbecue. You'd be the master of your own climate. And yet I am currently standing in a torrential downpour, wrestling with an umbrella that has just flipped inside out, transforming into a useless, tragic piece of modern art. If I had access to weather control, I wouldn't just be stopping the rain. I'd set the forecast to no Mondays ever, and a mysterious, targeted drizzle that only falls on people who talk on speakerphone in public. 30. In a misguided attempt to solve the world's health problems, some visionaries proposed the most depressing solution imaginable: food engineered to have absolutely no flavor. The theory was that if food was just a boring, tasteless nutrient paste, we'd only eat when necessary. Instead, humanity did the exact opposite. We took one look at that idea and decided to invent deep-fried butter, bacon-wrapped everything, and snacks so spicy they require a warning label. Tasteless food? My body finds a way to reject plain water if it isn't the perfect temperature. Trying to take flavor away from us wouldn't lead to a healthier society. It would lead to a full-scale, seasoning-fueled revolution. 31. This might be the peak of human arrogance and optimism. The prediction that we'd have a complete backup Earth, a spare planet just waiting on cosmic standby in case we, completely wreck this one. It's a comforting thought, like having a spare tire for your solar system. But let's be realistic. We are a species that can't even keep our own house in order. We argue about whose turn it is to take out the trash while the roof is on fire. If humanity ever got its hands on a second Earth, I give it 6 months before we've misplaced the keys, started a border dispute, and are already looking for a third planet. 32. For the ultimate in family planning, some futurists ditched the idea of parents altogether and predicted that children would be grown in laboratories. No messy births, no genetic lottery, just perfectly engineered babies rolling off an assembly line. Fast forward to today, where we still haven't managed to figure out a daycare system that doesn't cost more than a mortgage. Imagine the customer service calls for these lab-grown toddlers. Yes, hello. I'm calling about my recent order. Model 3T seems to have a bug where it just screams and throws food. Is this covered under the warranty, or do I need to download a patch? 33. The 1940s offered a vision of urban transit that was pure, streamlined genius, replacing all roads with giant moving conveyor belts. You'd just step on, glide effortlessly to your destination, and step off. No traffic, no road rage, no stress. Meanwhile, my daily reality is a 45-minute commute that consists of moving 3 feet at a time, listening to the symphony of angry car horns, and contemplating the series of life choices that led me to this specific traffic jam. The only conveyor belt I see regularly is the one at the airport baggage claim, where it circles endlessly, mocking me with other people's luggage while mine is probably on its way to Cleveland. 34. Self-driving cars were sold to us as the silver bullet for traffic congestion. A future where all vehicles moved in a perfectly synchronized, computer-controlled ballet, eliminating human error and traffic jams forever. It was a beautiful dream. My current experience with smart driving involves my GPS having a full-blown existential crisis at every intersection, confidently telling me to make a U-turn directly into the side of a donut shop. The only thing that feels truly automated in my driving life is the slow, creeping dread I feel every time I pass a gas station and see that the price has gone up again. That, at least, is ruthlessly efficient. 35. Dig through old magazines from the 1920s, and you'll find predictions that futuristic fashion would be all sleek, metallic jumpsuits and chrome-plated accessories. A unified, shimmering aesthetic for the people of tomorrow. Fast forward to 2024. We are not shimmering. We are, for the most part, dressing like depressed, minimalist hermits who favor shapeless black hoodies and comfortable sneakers. The height of fashion innovation isn't a silver onesie. It's finding a pair of sweatpants with pockets deep enough to hold your phone, keys, and the crushing weight of your responsibilities. Take that, Art Deco. Your futuristic jumpsuit has no place for my emotional support lip balm. 36. The 1980s went hard on the idea that virtual reality would become so immersive it would replace real life entirely. We'd abandon our mundane existence for custom-built digital utopias. Instead, we just found a less ambitious way to ignore each other. We don't live in a shared digital world. We live in the same room, silently scrolling through different apps on our phones. My expensive VR headset, bought in a moment of futuristic optimism, now serves as a high-tech dust collector, while my aunt uses FaceApp to create a more convincing virtual reality than anything I've seen. The immersive future is here, I guess. It's just being immersed in memes while waiting for the light to turn green. 37. Here's a beautifully weird one. The prediction that every person would eventually have their own personal theme song playing as they walked around. A real-life movie soundtrack for their daily activities. It sounds amazing, until you remember who would be in charge of the playlist. A soulless algorithm. Imagine having a terrible day, getting stuck with sad trombone music on a loop, or trying to have a serious, intimidating conversation with your boss while the algorithm inexplicably decides your theme for the day is upbeat circus music. No thank you. I'll stick to humming my own internal soundtrack of vague anxiety and commercial jingles. 38. By now, my clothes should have been doing the work for me. The future promised self-regulating fabrics that would automatically adjust to the temperature, meaning one perfect, all-season outfit. No more layering, no more guessing. Yet, every single morning I am still forced to play a high-stakes game of jacket or no jacket, a gamble I lose about 90% of the time. I either spend the day sweating in an office that's heated like a sauna, or shivering under the Arctic blast of the air conditioning. If this smart clothing ever does get invented, I want it to be fully customizable. My hoodie shouldn't just keep me warm. It should know when I need emotional support and give me a gentle hug. 39. Teleportation was supposed to be the great unifier, erasing borders and making the world a truly global village. Beam me up, Scotty. What we got instead was a bizarre inversion of that promise. We didn't erase borders, we just made them digital, and arguably more annoying. I can't watch a British TV show because of Netflix's region locking, but a teenager in a basement halfway across the world can apparently hack into a secure government server without leaving their chair. Our priorities are a mess. We didn't figure out how to teleport people, but we have perfected the art of teleporting spam emails directly into my inbox from anywhere on Earth. 40. The Jetsons promised us floating cities by 2025, gleaming utopias hovering serenely above the clouds. We were supposed to be living an airborne lifestyle. Instead, the only thing airborne in my life is the cloud of dust that erupts when I slap my couch, and the rent, which seems to have achieved escape velocity and is now orbiting the moon. My upstairs neighbor's footsteps sound like they're training a woolly mammoth up there, and that's the closest I get to feeling any vibrations from the sky. This isn't a sky-high lifestyle. It's just secondhand gravitational pull. 41. The 1930s, an era when optimism was clearly a powerful hallucinogen. Visionaries promised us a future of elegant underwater highways. We'd be in sleek, pressurized cars, gliding through glass tunnels beneath the ocean, casually waving at a passing squid as we commuted to work. Meanwhile, back on solid, non-aquatic ground, my car's suspension system enters a fight for its life every time it encounters a pothole. We're not talking about a small crack. We're talking about a crater that has its own zip code and is rumored to contain fossils. Forget submarine commuting. I'd settle for a stretch of asphalt that doesn't try to actively disassemble my vehicle piece by piece. 42. Here's a truly terrifying idea. Mood lighting for the entire planet. Some futurists predicted color-coded skies to reflect the collective emotions of the populace. A beautiful, empathetic concept, right? Wrong. Because the last thing humanity needs is another way to broadcast our unstable emotions. Imagine rush hour traffic. If the sky over the city suddenly turned a pulsating, angry red, my first thought wouldn't be, oh, everyone's a bit stressed. It would be, right, that's my cue to barricade the doors and find the nearest source of canned goods. That's not a utopia. It's a citywide riot waiting to happen. 43. Of all the misguided predictions, this one might be the most olfactorily offensive. Someone in the 1960s seriously thought we'd replace our complex language with smells, sending literal scented messages. Can you imagine the sheer horror? Breaking up with someone would involve spritzing them with a fragrance of disappointment and wet dog. Your boss fires you with a puff of burnt toast in despair. I can barely survive a 30-second elevator ride with someone wearing too much cologne. If smells became our primary form of communication, a middle school hallway would cease to be a place of learning and would instead become a designated chemical weapons testing site. 44. Dream recording was supposed to be a staple of the 21st century. You'd just plug a device into your temple before bed, and in the morning, you could re-watch last night's subconscious chaos like it was a bizarre indie film. Instead, I just wake up with a vague, lingering sense of anxiety and the faint memory that I was being chased by a filing cabinet on a unicycle. My brain refuses to provide the full feature film, only the confusing trailer. Honestly, it's probably for the best. If I could actually review my dreams, I'd likely owe my own subconscious a very sincere and lengthy apology, and possibly therapy. 45. The 1930s dreamed of a world powered by solar highways with sleek, flying trains zipping overhead. A future of clean, silent, and efficient transportation. Instead, I'm stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic on a crumbling road, burning gasoline that costs more per gallon than a fancy bottle of wine. The most interaction we have with the sun is when its glare perfectly blinds us during a morning commute. The future was supposed to be bright, efficient, and airborne. The reality is just me, squinting in regret, wondering if it's too late to invest in a horse. 46. By the year 2000, everyone will speak Esperanto. That was the confident cry of linguists in the 1950s, dreaming of a single, logical language to unite the world. Well, they were half right. We did invent a universal language, but it's not Esperanto, it's emoji. We have replaced nuanced conversation with tiny, cryptic pictures. A skull emoji can mean, "I'm laughing so hard," or it can mean, "I am literally deceased." A sequence of a rocket, a diamond, and a pair of hands is now a binding financial contract for many. Shakespeare would be horrified, but a picture of an eggplant is now more universally understood than half his sonnets. 47. Engineers once predicted that we would escape the whims of nature by building giant, climate-controlled domes over our major cities. No more rain, no more snow, no more pollution. Just a perfectly filtered, temperature-regulated existence. A lovely thought. Meanwhile, I'm currently in a brutal, years-long negotiation with the thermostat in my own apartment. A battle I am consistently losing. My air purifier makes a sound like a droid having a panic attack. Forget building a dome over an entire city. I would settle for a bus stop shelter that is capable of blocking a mild breeze. 48. The 1980s promised us the ultimate smart home. A house that would respond to our very thoughts. You'd think lights on and they'd turn on. You'd think coffee and a pot would start brewing. Fast forward to today, where I am locked in a bitter verbal feud with a plastic cylinder on my kitchen counter. Alexa, set the temperature to 72. A long pause. Playing 72 Virgins by Anal Cunt. No, Alexa, that's not what I wanted at all. Controlling my home with my mind is a distant dream. I can't even control it with my voice without starting an international incident. 49. The Final Frontier. A trip to the supermarket. Sci-fi of the 80s promised us powerful robotic exoskeletons for mundane tasks like carrying groceries. But look at us now. The reality is me, with 2 plastic bags looped around each finger, my circulation slowly giving up, performing a delicate hip check to close the car door because both my hands are occupied. This isn't just a failed prediction. This is the ultimate victory of basic human stubbornness over technological advancement. We were promised power armor, and we collectively chose to suffer just to avoid making a second trip. And that, right there, might be the most human and predictable future of all. That's it. 49 bold predictions gone hilariously wrong. Now it's your turn. Drop one wild guess about the next 50 years in the comments. Go absurd, go cynical, go outrageously hopeful. Let's build a digital time capsule of future regrets. And hey, if watching humanity crash and burn sounds like your thing, hit subscribe and give this video a like. That way, your own prediction can fail in excellent company.